We're learning now Perek Shishi. We kind of we skipped out Perek the third and fourth. We just finished the fifth, which was Chesed. The third and fourth is Chachma and Bina. Those are hard ones. And now we're doing the sixth, that is Gevurah, a short one. And here we are. Seven is going to be about Tiferes. And 8 is Netzachot in Yisod, the final midos. And 9, sorry, is Malchus, the final one. Then 10, he gives advice how a person should act in general holiness. Okay. Parak Shishi is a little bit of an interesting one. It's Gevurah. We'll see. You'll see what I mean in a second. What it's interesting, but we'll learn it properly and understand the idea of what does it mean. What the Ramak goes into now is that something my Rosh Hashiva told me many years ago. He says in general, it's brought down in Chassidus and Kabbalah that the woman is Gevurah and the man is Chesed. And the idea is to when they come together in marriage is the balance of chesed and gevurah, of kindness and severity. And we'll see what that means. What does it mean, gevurah? And that's why I remember my Rosh Hashiva once told me. He said that when a person arrives home from their work by day or in the afternoon or at night, whenever it is, so that's what's called hamtakas adinim. That's sweetening the judgment. The gevurah in the house is supposed to get sweetened by the chesed. So actually, I listened to a little clip that he put out about the idea of sweetening the gevurahs, and we'll see how this applies to this class. Let's just read it inside. He says, Perek Shishi, the sixth Perek, how should a person get themselves ready, or how to know how to so to say, navigate in Ahuvah starring Perek Shishi. How to want, and it's page, I think 121 or 8, I think, in the Hebrew books, but the link I sent. So it's how should a person accustom themselves within the midah of Gevurah. What the point that the Ramak is going to make over here is that only the woman can handle Gevurah. So only the woman can handle severity. It's not a man isn't able to handle severity. It's something that's given over to the woman because they know how to have severity in the proper healthy way, and for a man it's damaging. That's the nakuda. That's the point of Perek Shishi. So he says like this. He's going to use terms that possibly seem strong, to borderline offensive, but it doesn't mean it that way. It has to be taken in proper context. He said like this: Da, we should know. All the awakenings, misayris from the word ayrer, to awaken, that from the Yetzer Hara, from the part of the person that is connected to the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, as it's been given the translation, is when a person awakens within themselves and listens and gives into the urges of what the Yetzer Hara wants to awaken within a person, then by doing so, you awaken your ma'orer, you so to say, arouse a strong gevurah, strong severity. It means there's a response. There's a response if a person wants to attach themselves to the ideas of what the Yetzer Hara is pushing a person to do. You should know by doing such a thing. By doing that, you wake up Gevurah's Chazakas. Gevurah's Chazakas means Gevurah itself is severity. Chazakas is strong. So Gevurah's Chazakas means very strong severity. It means you have to be careful, right? It says in the translation, if one is following in the Hebrew books, it says Hakadosh Baruch Hu bara ba'adam shnei yitzarim. God created two, so to say, adversaries, or two opinions or voices to a person. The Yetzer Tov, the voice that's pushing a person towards good. The Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Tov always pushes a person lasos tov, meaning l'mod Torah, to do Torah, l'gmal chesed, to do, act, be kind to other people. Yetzer Hara, you have to remember the Yetzer Hara is pushing a person in everything bad. It's not just specific bad things. is matas ha'adam la'asais, Yetzer hara matas ha'adam l'chol ha'retzonos v'tavos ha'chumriyos. The Yetzer hara pushes a person to all the wants, desires of the material world. And he gives an example. For instance, eating, just eating for the sake of eating, tavas achila, tavas hakavod, a person who wants recognition, respect, acknowledgement, that's all in the kavod. As we get older, our taivas change. What drives us in a negative way, the negative taivas, the negative desires changes. And a person gets motivated by, a lot of people get motivated by kavod. Kavod becomes a big thing as we get older. When you're younger, a kid doesn't care about kavod. Of course, you want to be recognized, but a child is socially recognized, but you don't need the kavod. The kavod means that just people respect me for the sake of respect. It's a taiva. Taivas maman. Person wants money. Money is usually connected to kavod, because if I just had enough money, I'd be recognized, right? It's not just that, or you could be able to supply your need for other things. You feel that you can't supply it because you don't have the means. So he's not going to, all these things on their own are not negative. But when they're pushing a person to do negative, it means the taivas themselves, to have a taiva, to have a desire for something, could be used in a positive way. But if a person's going to use the taiva, the drive behind it, the oil, the fuel behind it is for negativity. So the taiva takes a person very fast to a negative place. And he said, I'm just going to read this little part, and then we'll go back to the original text. It says, "Kasav a pasuk." It says, "We have to say Hashem l'kecha b'chol levav." A person has to love Hashem with all your heart, and we know it's brought down in Gemara. It says, "B'shnei yitzarecha." It's not enough to love Hashem with your yetzer tov, that your good side loves Hashem, but the parts. That's what I'm saying. Taiva itself, pleasure itself, or desire itself, is not something that's bad if it's being applied to the wrong things. And the idea is b'shnei yitzarecha, your yetzer hara. You have to transform the animal side in you, which Tanya talks about. That also has to love Hashem. Hey Beth. B'yetzer tov u'b'yetzer hara. You have to love Hashem with both your good side, your good yetzer, and the yetzer hara. Avos Hashem b'yetzer tov zamuvan. It's obvious what it means to love Hashem with your yetzer tov, with your good side. Lumad yoser, learn more. Lahetiv machev yoser, be nicer to people. Do things that are the right things to do. So ma'kavan alayvis Hashem b'yetzer hara. What does it mean to love Hashem with your evil side? Calls it ra. It's bad. The idea of when all your ritzonos, all the wants that you have that are materialistic, should be in a way to serve Hashem. It means a person is no, you're allowed to eat. No one has to stop. We don't believe in starving yourself or preventing yourself from being a human being. A person has to eat and sleep and have relationships and all that. But why are you doing it? Why do you do all that? Like the Rambam writes in the beginning of Rambam, you have to do it to serve Hashem. So that's what it means with Shnei Yitzarech on a simple level. To serve God. For instance, what kind of foods do you eat? How do you eat? How do you place your food on the table? How do you eat like a mensch? Is it kosher food that you're eating? Or when it comes Shabbos, when you love to eat, even though Shabbos, even any kind of food you eat on Shabbos is a mitzvah, but are you conscious of that? That when you're eating on Shabbos, my grandfather used to say every time he took a bite, especially of a new food, soup or chicken, he would say the kavod Shabbos kodesh. What's the idea of the kavod Shabbos kodesh? To identify and to be conscious about that when you're eating you're eating Shabbos food. So he says, and all those things, etc. A person has to know. When you awake the evil side within you, but not for the sake of Torah, not for the sake of serving Hashem. You have to know that when you just awake the taivas themselves, the pleasures of life themselves, it's a situation of Gevurah, of severity. And therefore, you have to be very careful when you live the material life and the things that are necessary for life, to be fruitful, multiply, to have a house. None of these things are wrong, but it's the focus of why you're doing it and what drives you. It's the drive. It's Are you just indulging? Are you giving in? Are you just splurging? These are the parts that you have to be careful, because when you're giving into the Yetzer Hara, there's a tremendous Gevurah, strong severity that's watching. There's din. And this is why the Ramaka is going to conclude that specifically the woman in a relationship is the one who holds the keys to healthy Gevurah. Healthy Gevurah, a healthy material life is dependent on the woman. That's the Ramak's shita. The man is a participant. The man has to come in and bring the chesed, they bring the ava. But the woman is because she knows how to hold the keys to Gevurah, not the man. The man held the hands of Gevurah, was trying to be alone to deal with the Yetzer Hara, we would be lost case. The men would be a lost case. So he says like this. So what should you do? So back to the original text. Don't awaken the Yetzer Hara, and you shouldn't awaken severity. So why was a person created with the Yetzer Hara? Like it says in the pasuk says Vayitzer Hashem Elokim es Adam. It says 2 yuds. It doesn't have to say 2 yuds. So what are the 2 yuds? That represents the first letter of Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. That God created men with the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara, which is Zeh Chesed Zeh Gevurah. So why do we have the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara? One is just Yetzer Tov is a side of Chesed, and Yetzer Hara is a side of Gevurah. So this is a shita of Musar, of Kabbalah, brought down. Chassidus talks about this. So here he says, Amnam Perishu B'Zohar. This is brought down originally, obviously, from the Zohar, in Parshas Bereshis, where it talks about the creation of man and woman. Yetzer Tov Nivr La'adam Atzmei Litzarchoi, Yetzer Hara Litzarch Ishtay. Again, doesn't mean the Yetzer Hara, that the woman has the bad side. The woman is the one who has control of the bad side of the Yetzer Hara. If a man had to deal with the Yetzer Hara on his own, we wouldn't be able to overcome the Yetzer Hara. It's only the woman who's able to have the Gevurah, is able to have. She knows how to keep a healthy balance in a physical relationship, in a relationship between man and woman. I mean, you have a relationship man and woman, so there's a house, things that have to be done. I heard a good vart. He's going to talk about in a second about the idea of amtakas adinim, of sweetening of the judgment. So he said that the Rabbi Deitch was saying that we'll get there. Let's get there when he talks about the sweetening of we didn't get there yet. So he says the tzarcha Yetzer Hara, and for himself, and the Yetzer Hara tzarcha Ishtay. Obviously, in order for it's brought down the Gemara. Gemara says that after the destruction of the first temple, and they're getting ready to build it, so they built a second temple, and the Gemara brings down, the Gemara Medrash brings down the Anshe Knesset Agdola, the members of the Great Assembly, said, 1 second, what's going on? Time out. We built the first Beis Hamikdash, and the Jewish people dealt with this urge to serve idols, and it totally destroyed the Jewish people, destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. We were exiled. We can't go back and build a second Beis Hamikdash and start again with the same struggles. Yes, we were 70 years in Bavel, we were in exile, but that was under pressure. Now we're going to have freedom, and we're going to build the Beis Hamikdash. This is going to start all over again. So they fasted 3 days, the Medrash says, and they made a whole gathering, and they so to say captured the evil inclination of idol worship and killed it. And that's why you don't find people that have this burning desire for idol worship. We don't understand it. You read the Navi, the Nevi'im of the first temple, the first Beis Hamikdash, you're wondering, what was this big deal? Like, if they would just stop bowing down to this idol, that idol, even though technically we're still bowing down to idols, they just look differently. Bowing down to bank accounts or this or that or attention. But the Avodah Zarah, the way it was at its purest, that's not something that's a major challenge today. Some people have it in some places. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's not what it was then. So it says they killed the Yetzer Hara for idol worship as it was. So they figured if it's Eis Ratzon, it's a time, it's a moment. They have God's attention. So maybe they should kill the Yetzer Hara for bad relationships. People who are doing it, inappropriate relationships. So they got the Yetzer Hara for that as well. And they captured it. And all of a sudden, the world stopped reproducing. No animals were having the eggs. The chickens stopped laying eggs. The whole world stopped. So they realized they couldn't kill that Yetzer Hara. So they say they blinded it. They eradicated the concept of incest, etc. But partially they took care of it. But the idea of a person having to create a family, we have to live like human beings. We eat, we sleep, we have children, we build a family, but we can't be in control of that. The men can't be in control of that. The Ramak says. He says like this. Re'ei kama misukim devorav. Says, look how sweet the words of the Zohar is. Hare Teferes, he calls Teferes here, he means the man. He says, Hare Teferes, Baal HaChesed Noite al Yamin is always going towards the right. That's the natural. If the person's in the right mindset and just without struggling with the Yetzer Hara, the natural tendency would go to the right. And to the right is the Yetzer Tov, to do the right thing, to give tzedakah, to learn. V'hanekeva, and the female, he calls the man Tiferes and the woman female, is smalis v'chol hanhagaseha b'gvurais. The woman has a tendency towards the left, which is Gevurah. Again, it's not about good and bad. It's different. Our nature is different. And it goes toward Gevurah. Gevurah has boundaries. Who knows how to set up a family? Therefore, the Ramak says, Gevurah is not for the man. It's not for the man to initiate it, to decide how it's going to be, in what proportion it's going to be, why we need money, what kind of house we need to live in, how do we interact in our personal relationships. That's not your department. It's not the man's department, the Ramak says. You don't have to awaken the Yetzer, the part that is attached to material shouldn't be something that's on your mind for yourself. You go out to work. You have to bring home a paycheck. Don't start thinking I need to go to this vacation, that vacation. I need to build this in the house. We don't have a nice enough couch. That's not your department. He says, very strong language. If you're going to awaken it, you're going to destroy the world. It's not, if a man awakens the Gevurah, it's going to bring destruction. Im Kain, he says, if that's the case, and if you're going to awaken, if the man is going to awaken, the side of Gevurah means to try to, everyone has to know their boundaries. What are things, I saw someone, it's brought down somewhere, it says about certain things that are for holy people. So a person says, well, I'm a holy person, so I want to do it. Let's say putting on 4 pairs of tefillin, right? We know that putting on 4 pairs of tefillin is not for everyone at all. A person says, what do you mean? I want to do it. It's not, there's certain things you don't do. It's out of your pay range. If it's out of your pay range, you stick with things that are within your range. And therefore he says, call me this if you're going out to the world and it's about so the man could bring home the material for the man's needs, then he says and it's going to be about you trying to enjoy the material side itself in the world. He says you're damaging. Adam Elyon means the Eibishter, Hashem. And what does he say? Where does he use it? What does he put it into a very strong language? What do you think he puts it into? He puts it into indulging in this and that. He puts it down into one concept, anger. Where does the man come off being angry from? How disgusting is anger? And everything like anger. Where does anger come from? It's brought down. When does a person get angry? When he says it's magiyali, it's why did you offended me? I deserve it. I want nicer. I want better. I'm unhappy. This relationship's not working for me. So that's kas. The person gets angry, and therefore he says that's not your department. What are you getting angry about? You have to serve Hashem Chesed, and you have to go out to the world and bring back. Let the woman deal with the Gevurah. It's not for you. It says, therefore, the Kama Maguna Hakas. How bad is the anger? And everything under the auspices of anger. Anger comes from somewhere. Shu Magber Gevurah Sakashes. When you get angry, you're bringing tremendous Gevurah into the relationship. And by that, also into Hashem. Amnam Yetzaharat, Sarach Liyes Kasher V'Aser. A person has to have the things that the Yetzirah represent, like we said, B'shnei Yetziracha. The reason he starts off saying that when we say the Shema, we have to say we love Hashem with both parts of our Yetzir Tov and Yetzirah. That's what it says in Gemara Brachas. The Gemara Bracha says that a person has to love Hashem with the Yetzirah. What does that mean? That the material needs you have is a way of serving Hashem all the way to the core. So he says, but if a person, therefore he says, Levilti. He says, sorry, Amnam Yetzirah Tzarech Liyes Kasher V'Aser. You have to have your Yetzirah in check. What's Kasher V'Aser means? It has to be tied down. Don't let it run wild. Levilti Yisayir L'Shum Pu'ulish Ba'alam Mipulasei Gufay. You can't allow it just to do things for no reason, just to throw the person in self-satisfaction. And that's on a range of things. It's not just one thing. It's each person according to their Yetzirah, and each person on the list of things. Basically, that's not your department to it means they're there for you. You have to love Hashem with it, but you have to stay. You shouldn't hold the keys of those things. And he says, not in relationships. It's not your place to even want money. What are you getting angry about? What's his whole motivation for recognition, for respect? Those shouldn't be part of your needs as far as your drive goes. Your drive is to serve Hashem. Your drive is you're going to serve Hashem both in the material and the physical. You have to love Hashem in everything. But you can't allow for those things to be you wake up in the morning, how much money do I have? How can I get more money? How can I get more respect? You're not honoring me in the basic knesses in the shul. That's not things that are meant for the man to worry about. The woman has a healthy understanding of how these things work. If the woman doesn't do it right, then you have a problem. Right? What does it say? It says there's two women in the Torah we learn about. That one knew how to deal with Gevurah and one didn't. We have the Oin ben Peles, right? And when it came to the rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu, there was Korach and there's Oin ben Peles. Oin ben Peles also wanted it. He was a person who lived in the time of the rebellion against Moshe in the story of Korach. He also wanted to rebel against Moshe, but Oin ben Peles' wife said, "What's going on? Knock it off." She put him in check, and Korach's wife instigated it. She said, "What's going on? Why is Moshe not respecting you? Why are you any better? Why are you worse than Moshe? You're from an older brother. You should have gotten. You're older than the brother than the one that got the princehood. What's this idea that the Levi has to shave all the hair off his head? You look bald. You look gross, right? She drove at him to start a fight. So the Torah tells us it's brought down that Oim ben Peles' wife understood how to deal with Gevurah, and she led her husband to the right, took him away from the machlekes. And Korach's wife led him to the machlekes. So it's not that the woman is perfect, but she's the one who can make sure that it happens in a healthy way. It's up to her. That's what he says. Amnam letzarech ishtoi. But when it comes to for the person's wife, for the person's family, then you awaken the Yetzirah in a balanced, healthy manner. This is now going to the sweetening of Gevurah. What's sweetening of Gevurah? That says that sweetening of Gevurah itself could be severe, but if you go to the root of Gevurah, then the Gevurah could be healthy. What does the root of Gevurah mean? I want to give an example. I heard from Rabbi Deitch yesterday online. He says a person, for instance, he gives an example. A person's wife asks a husband to do something for the family. I don't know, go out shopping, whatever it is. Doesn't make a difference what the thing is. And he does it wrong for whatever reason. Lazy, doesn't understand right, whatever it is. There's many reasons why the husband won't do it right. Either he's to blame, he's a peshe, he's negligent, or he's an oinus, it's a mistake. It's karav la'onis, karav lamezid. There could be many kind of reasons why a person wouldn't do it right. But then the woman has to respond because she's upset. So when he comes home, she's upset. Why didn't he do what he was supposed to do? Why didn't he do what we agreed that he would do? So when you freeze that moment, what is amtakas adin, and what does it mean sweetening the judgment, sweetening the gevurah? The woman's response is gevurah because it's her job to run things, and you didn't participate in the way you should have. So Rabbi Deitch says that the woman should think to herself, but why do I want things to be in order? So the house should be a healthy environment, right? We need to have this, we need to have this, so the house is a happy house. And the husband didn't do what he should have done to contribute to making the house a happy house. But what's going to be the benefit of getting angry now? It's going to end up making the house anyways not a happy house. If the whole root, what does it mean to sweeten Gevurah at the root? What's the root of the Gevurah? Is the woman's ability and it's her talent to make the house a happy house through her Gevurah, because she knows how to control the Gevurah. But if by using the Gevurah she doesn't make it a happy house, so what's the point? If the result is not going to be happy, it doesn't mean the person gets off scot-free. I mean, there has to be a conversation about it. But if it's going to just be angry and bring negative into the house, then anyways it's counterproductive. You're not getting to the Gevurah, the point of Gevurah. The root of the Gevurah was to create a happy house. But now you're anyways not going to be happy. So you have to ask yourself, is this the best reaction? What is the healthiest reaction to continue with the agenda of having a happy house? That was Rabbi Deitch's insight on the idea of the tzad hagvur samutokis, to sweeten the judgment at its root. Going, and how does the husband, so to say, is talking to the man? How does the husband add that the gvura should be healthy? Lahalbisha, that the woman should have nice clothing to walk around. That's important. Lasakin labais, make sure she has what she needs in her house. V'yomer, and hari bezesha ani malbisha ani misakin ashchina, and a person shows to know. He says an amazing thing, that when you set the house right, and here's an amazing thing he says, when your wife looks nice, attractive, you should think the Shechina looks attractive. This is the Shechina in my house. This is the female idea of godliness in the house. Bibina. Shehi Gevurah the kol kul Gevuras. That she is now enclothed in understanding. The clothing is levushim, is understanding. That there's positive Gevurah in the environment of the house. And the woman knows how to sweeten Gevurah with her tremendous compassion, he says. Therefore, call tikuni abayis same tikuni ashchina. You have to know that when the house is in order, the shechina is in order. Shehi mismatekes mitzad yetzarara hanivra laseis ursain kainai. That the yetzarara, meaning the parts, the urges of a person, that a person has to material things, it's not a bad thing. It's bad if you use it bad, but if it's used in a healthy way, and by the person in the relationship, when it comes to the man and woman, she's the one who knows how to have it in a healthy way, then you're making the Shechina beautiful in your home. And he says, Zulas, but you're not supposed to use it for something else. The whole focus of a healthy marriage and the whole focus of a healthy household, and why you go to work, and even if the woman works, all the things should be to enclose the Shechina, to make the home a place. But if you do lezulas for something else, then it's the Yetzer Hara for the sake of the Yetzer Hara. The Fikach, he says, therefore, lechaven adam by shumana shal klum. Your whole motivation should not be for yourself, right? I need my nice watch, or I need my nice car. That's something I need. The Ramak doesn't subscribe to that. I'm not saying it's not. Maybe the woman wants the man to have it, so he's in a good space. But the Ramak doesn't subscribe to that. It says, it's not about so you should have your own private things in a way that's separate. I know it's a very hard. This is intense, and this is why it's the Tomar Devorah. It's an intense sefer. When the woman is happy with a nice place to live, your intention should be that you've built a place with the Shechina. A happy house is a place God wants to be part of. That's what he's saying. This is making the Shechina in a happy space. Because the Shechina knows how to use the Gevurah, the limitations, the boundaries, the severity in a positive way. And we know that from this left side comes Oisher, comes wealth, comes Kavod. That's why it's brought down many times. The Rebbe used to quote this all the time. That Parnas is b'schus the woman. A man's success in business is b'schus the woman. If the woman has a healthy house and a healthy reason, she leads things in the right way, she's the source of Oisher v'Kavod. Yes, a person shouldn't be a doormat. It has to come from a house of Shechina, and that comes from the healthy side of Gevurah. That your love should be towards your wife, he says. And then he says, your intention should be of getting close with the Gevurah. Like it says, the left side supports my head. Starting off that you want to be able to hug with the right hand. You want to have healthy chesed. If there's if it starts with healthy boundaries in the family, means the Ramak saying that the key into a healthy marriage and a relationship. I said again, this is going to be a bit of an interesting midah, but we're learning it. The key starts with Gevurah, not fighting and not severity, but in a way of healthy boundaries and healthy mindset. And then comes my right hand hugs. If you have the left side, the left side supports my head, and then after that, the right hand can hug. Then the love is in a good place. He says, a person has to look to sweeten that everything as much means the man comes home, like I said, Rabbi Deitch says, the man comes home, he should bring chesed into the house. Coming home angry that's not the way to come home. In every part of your relationship is to have joy, and for the sake of the mitzvah, it's a mitzvah to have a healthy home. It's a mitzvah in all parts of the relationship, but you're not separating it. And the woman knows how to create that kind of atmosphere in the home. Because and then the negativity, the gvura gets focused on the yamin, on the ava, on the love. And then the things that the Yetzer Hara does contribute. It says, you have to love Hashem with the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara has a lot of positive, but then it's in a healthy way, in a balanced way. It says, your intentions is to build a house where your wife is happy and she has the means to both in the relationship and in material, if you can, to build a happy home, and she's a proper a proper help to the family. And together you serve Hashem in a way of ava and yira, of love, and that's the midah of today. So the midah of chesed was focused on one direction that we learned in Perek Chamishi, was all about the how should a person learn from chesed to be with Hashem. In Gevurah, he was very much, he focused the Ramak focused on how a person, what is our motivation, what is the motivation for the man, what is the partnership, the man and the woman, and how together they build a house for the Shechina, and that builds a healthy relationship. You start off with yamin, smiley tachas the reishi, when the left hand, when the boundaries, when the so to say the ground rules are set properly, then you could have yamin tachapkeni, the right hand hugs. So, anyone has any questions? Now's the time. If not, we'll leave it.
Was this the intro, and then just like we did in Chesed, you went to the different?
No, this is the whole of it. It's the whole Chesed. This is the whole Gevurah. We finished Gevurah.
Okay, that's good. As severe as it was, it's just a little.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's a little intense, and he doesn't break it down. He just says it the way it is. He puts it in a single topic, so to say, and he doesn't go into the details of the different ways of Gevurah and how to go about it. He puts it in. I think it is what it is, and that's how he presents it.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Laila Tov, and have a good Shabbos.
Thank you. You too.